Hello, and welcome to your AI News Roundup for June 12, 2026. Today we dive into Nvidia's policy scrutiny and the integration of Claude into regulated industries. Get ready for your daily AI update. News number 1. Nvidia has appointed a former Intel government affairs chief to navigate evolving AI policy scrutiny. Nvidia has made a strategic hire, bringing on a former Intel government affairs chief to manage its engagement amidst intensifying AI policy scrutiny. This move is positioned to strengthen Nvidia's influence in the highly regulated technology sector. The appointment signals a direct response to the growing regulatory focus on foundational model deployment and chip supply chains. The hiring is occurring at a critical juncture as governments worldwide grapple with establishing frameworks for AI governance. This executive will oversee Nvidia's interactions with regulatory bodies concerning data handling and export controls. This shift underscores the growing necessity for semiconductor firms to integrate policy strategy directly into their business operations. The move aims to ensure Nvidia's positioning in the rapidly evolving AI landscape remains compliant and strategically aligned with geopolitical demands. News number 2. Anthropic's new 30-day data policy has revealed significant gaps in enterprise AI governance. Anthropic's recently implemented 30-day data policy has exposed critical vulnerabilities in how large language models handle enterprise data, highlighting systemic governance gaps across the industry. The policy mandates strict data handling protocols for fine-tuning and inference, yet the resulting exposure demonstrates that current enterprise frameworks are insufficient to manage the risks associated with proprietary data utilization. The policy, implemented across Anthropic's platform, revealed inconsistencies in data lineage tracking and access controls, indicating a breakdown in established enterprise AI governance standards. This exposure raises immediate questions about the regulatory compliance and risk mitigation strategies large organizations employ when deploying foundation models. This move comes as competitors continue to accelerate their own data-centric fine-tuning strategies, intensifying the competitive pressure on establishing standardized, auditable protocols for enterprise AI deployment. The incident underscores the urgent need for unified standards governing data usage within the generative AI ecosystem. News number 3. OpenAI has banned ChatGPT accounts linked to China that were amplifying public backlash over U.S. data center electricity costs. OpenAI has taken action to ban specific ChatGPT accounts linked to China following concerns that the accounts amplified public backlash regarding rising U.S. data center electricity prices. The action was reportedly taken because the accounts utilized AI-generated cartoons to stoke fears over the escalating energy costs associated with the U.S. data center infrastructure. This move addresses the intersection of AI deployment and geopolitical energy concerns within the U.S. market. The incident highlights the growing scrutiny placed on the energy consumption and operational costs of large-scale AI infrastructure. This action signals a direct response to the public and regulatory sensitivity surrounding data center energy demands. News number 4. OpenAI has banned hundreds of ChatGPT accounts following a statement regarding assistance to the U.S. government. OpenAI, through CEO Sam Altman, has announced the suspension of hundreds of ChatGPT accounts following a statement asserting the company's role in assisting the U.S. government. The action stems from a public declaration linking the platform's capabilities directly to government objectives. This move has triggered immediate scrutiny regarding the deployment and scope of the foundation model's access. The specifics of the government assistance remain undisclosed, but the action signals a significant shift in how OpenAI manages access and compliance for its enterprise-level deployments. This development places immediate pressure on the industry to define clear parameters for API usage and data governance within sensitive governmental contracts. News number 5. DXC is integrating Anthropic's Claude model into core systems for regulated industries. DXC is moving to integrate the Claude foundation model into the operational systems utilized by major banks, airlines, and other heavily regulated sectors. This strategic move, announced by Anthropic, signals a significant push toward deploying advanced LLMs directly into enterprise infrastructure rather than isolated applications. This integration focuses on leveraging Claude for complex data processing and system reliability within environments where compliance and security are paramount. The deployment targets critical infrastructure, indicating a shift in how large enterprises are adopting proprietary AI models for high-stakes operational tasks. This integration positions Claude as a core component in enterprise risk management and operational efficiency across finance and travel. News number 6. Nvidia details a new framework for multi-tenant security leveraging quantum InfiniBand technology. Nvidia has released technical documentation detailing a framework for implementing one-click multi-tenant security utilizing quantum InfiniBand networking infrastructure. This development focuses on enhancing security isolation within complex, shared computing environments. The implementation leverages the unique capabilities of quantum InfiniBand to provide high-speed, low-latency communication channels essential for secure data separation across multiple tenants. This architecture allows for granular access control and robust isolation mechanisms directly at the network layer. The focus of the announcement is on how this infrastructure can streamline the deployment and management of secure multi-tenant systems, reducing the overhead associated with traditional security protocols. This innovation positions Nvidia's networking stack as a critical component for enterprise-level cloud and HPC environments where security boundaries are paramount. This move directly addresses the growing complexity of securing shared AI and data workloads. News number 7. Microsoft is integrating Work IQ to operationalize AI and autonomous agents across its enterprise workflow. Microsoft has introduced Work IQ, a framework designed to enable AI agents and intelligent automation directly within the Microsoft ecosystem. This initiative focuses on leveraging AI to execute complex tasks and manage workflows for enterprise users. The system facilitates the deployment of specialized AI agents that can perform multi-step operations, moving beyond simple prompting to full agentic workflows. The integration allows for sophisticated inference and decision-making directly tied to enterprise data and operational systems. This move positions Microsoft to redefine how large language models are deployed in production environments. Competitors are focusing on building agent frameworks, making this integration a critical competitive response in the enterprise AI space. The implementation allows businesses to automate complex operational tasks using these integrated agents. News number 8. Google has introduced Gemini Omni, signaling a significant architectural shift across its multimodal foundation model suite. Google officially unveiled Gemini Omni, a new iteration of its foundational model architecture, on Monday, introducing a unified processing layer designed to enhance cross-modal reasoning and complex inference. The update focuses on integrating text, image, and audio processing into a single, coherent context window, aiming to improve zero-shot performance across diverse benchmarks. Internal testing showed Gemini Omni achieved a 15% increase in complex reasoning tasks compared to the previous Gemini Pro version, particularly in multi-step logical problem solving. The new model processes up to 400,000 tokens simultaneously, drastically increasing the context length available for complex fine-tuning operations. This release positions Google directly against competitors by demonstrating a scalable approach to multimodal architecture, challenging the current paradigm of siloed model deployment. Analysts are watching closely to see how this unified approach impacts downstream application development and API pricing structures. News number 9. Microsoft has confirmed a second service outage affecting Copilot this month. Microsoft has publicly confirmed that it has experienced a second service outage affecting its Copilot services within the current month. The incident impacts various Copilot functionalities across the platform, affecting user access and interaction with the AI assistant. The confirmation details the scope of the disruption, highlighting ongoing stability challenges within the service delivery infrastructure. This follow-up event occurs amid ongoing discussions regarding the scaling and reliability of large-scale AI inference operations. Industry observers are closely monitoring these incidents to assess the stability of Microsoft's deployment strategy and the operational resilience of its AI services. The incident underscores the persistent challenges in maintaining consistent uptime for mission-critical generative AI tools as they continue to scale. News number 10. Congressional Democrats are divided over the push to implement new regulatory frameworks for artificial intelligence. Debate over AI regulation has significantly fractured Democratic alignment in Congress. The push for sweeping AI legislation has created deep divides among members regarding the scope and pace of regulatory action. While some members advocate for immediate, comprehensive oversight of foundation models and large language models, others prioritize industry innovation and risk-based approaches. This disagreement centers on whether the proposed frameworks should focus on safety protocols, data governance, or intellectual property rights. The differing stances reflect a tension between calls for swift public protection and concerns from the technology sector regarding the impact on innovation and market deployment. The political friction highlights the complex challenge of establishing unified standards for rapidly evolving AI technologies. News number 11. US. Bank regulators are intensifying scrutiny over the deployment of AI technologies within the financial sector. U.S. banking regulators have initiated heightened oversight regarding how financial institutions utilize artificial intelligence systems. This increased scrutiny targets the risk management and compliance frameworks surrounding AI applications in lending, fraud detection, and customer interaction. The focus is on assessing potential systemic risks introduced by these models, particularly concerning algorithmic bias and data privacy compliance. The regulatory action is aimed at ensuring that the deployment of large foundation models adheres to existing financial stability guidelines. Regulators are examining internal governance protocols and external audit trails related to AI inference operations. This push comes as institutions grapple with integrating sophisticated machine learning into core operational functions. The move reflects a broader industry trend toward establishing standardized risk metrics for AI deployment across the financial ecosystem. Banks are now facing pressure to demonstrate robust controls over model training data and decision-making processes to mitigate exposure to regulatory penalties. This effort signals a shift from voluntary AI adoption to mandatory compliance frameworks for financial AI systems. News number 12. AI utilization across federal agencies has surged by 148% in 2025, according to Bipartisan Policy Center data. Data from the Bipartisan Policy Center indicates a massive increase in AI deployment across federal health and regulatory bodies. Specifically, utilization within the Department of Health and Human Services and the Food and Drug Administration saw a 148% jump during 2025. This surge highlights the rapid integration of generative and analytical models into public sector operations. The data tracks the expansion of AI tools being deployed within these agencies. This rapid adoption reflects a broader trend where regulatory and public health institutions are leveraging machine learning for complex data analysis and operational efficiency. This shift positions government bodies to use AI not just for internal optimization, but also for public health monitoring and regulatory compliance. News number 13. U.S. Congress issued a warning regarding the outcome of the global AI race. The U.S. Congress has issued a warning stating that the winner of the AI race will rule the world, and this dominance must not be achieved by China. This statement underscores escalating geopolitical concerns surrounding the development and deployment of advanced artificial intelligence. The warning highlights the strategic importance of AI superiority as a factor in global power dynamics. This warning comes amid intense international competition over foundation model development and compute resources. The dynamic is further complicated by differing national strategies regarding AI governance and technological leadership. The statement signals a shift from purely technological competition to a geopolitical contest over AI supremacy. Industry analysts are now tracking how these warnings influence current investment flows and regulatory discussions across major tech economies. News number 14. The Boston Globe op-ed argues that Congress must establish federal standards for artificial intelligence development. The Boston Globe published an opinion piece urging congressional action regarding AI governance. The piece outlines the necessity for federal standards to manage the rapid evolution of foundation models and their deployment across various sectors. The argument centers on the need for unified regulatory frameworks to mitigate systemic risks associated with unchecked AI proliferation. The author contends that without standardized protocols for data handling, model auditing, and safety testing, the industry risks creating fragmented compliance landscapes. This lack of cohesive standards could impede innovation while simultaneously exposing public safety and consumer data to unacceptable risks. The piece calls for a coordinated legislative approach to ensure that AI development is aligned with established legal and ethical principles, thereby fostering responsible innovation. This perspective positions Congress as the critical entity required to set the foundational rules for future AI deployment. News number 15. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has declined a potential White House initiative regarding AI policy preemption. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has rejected potential AI preemption measures proposed by the White House, signaling a divergence in federal and state approaches to governing artificial intelligence. The policy disagreement centers on the scope and regulatory framework applied to emerging foundation models. While specific details regarding the policy are evolving, the rejection reflects a stance prioritizing state autonomy over centralized federal mandates. This move positions Florida as a key testing ground for divergent regulatory philosophies in the AI space. Industry observers are watching closely to see how this political friction impacts the development and deployment of large language models across the country. News number 16. A recent analysis argues that the challenges posed by the opioid epidemic offer critical lessons for structuring effective AI regulation in Washington. New policy research suggests that the systemic failures seen in managing the opioid crisis, specifically concerning supply chains, data transparency, and public health mandates, provide a framework for addressing complex AI governance. The report details how failures in oversight regarding pharmaceutical distribution mirror current ambiguities in managing the risks associated with large foundation models. The analysis specifically points to the need for standardized data reporting mechanisms across AI developers, similar to the regulatory demands placed on pharmaceutical companies. It calls for establishing clear liability frameworks for algorithmic harms, focusing on how deployment decisions impact public safety and access. This perspective shifts the focus from purely technical risk assessment to systemic policy integration. Industry experts are now debating whether analogous regulatory structures, focusing on data provenance and accountability, should be applied to the rapidly evolving AI landscape. News number 17. The AI market is poised for explosive growth driven by the convergence of automation, generative AI, and intelligent decision-making across global industries. The shift is driven by massive investment in automation infrastructure and the widespread adoption of generative AI platforms. Companies are leveraging foundation models to optimize complex decision-making processes, moving beyond simple task execution into sophisticated cognitive automation. This transformation is primarily happening in sectors requiring complex data inference, such as finance, supply chain logistics, and advanced manufacturing. The current market valuation reflects a significant expansion in enterprise adoption of these intelligent systems. Competitive positioning is intensifying as firms race to deploy fine-tuning techniques to tailor models for specific operational needs. This dynamic is pushing the infrastructure layer, GPU capacity, and specialized AI chips to unprecedented demand, setting the stage for exponential scaling of the AI ecosystem over the next fiscal cycle. News number 18. The performance divergence between major AI-focused ETFs, Vanguard's VGT and iShares SOXX, has been scrutinized this week. The latest data reveals a significant divergence in the performance of the two broad market indices tracking the AI sector. Vanguard's VGT, which focuses on technology growth, has outperformed the iShares SOXX, which encompasses a wider range of global technology holdings. As of the close on Friday, VGT registered a 4.5% gain, while SOXX saw a modest 2.1% increase. This disparity highlights differing exposure across the underlying components of the AI investment landscape. The difference stems from the composition of the funds, with VGT having a heavier weighting toward pure-play semiconductor and AI infrastructure companies, whereas SOXX includes a broader mix of technology and broader market exposure. This comparison is critical for investors assessing risk allocation within the evolving AI market. Competitive moves in the sector suggest that investors are increasingly segmenting their exposure based on specific technology plays rather than relying on a single broad index for AI valuation. News number 19. 4 artificial intelligence companies are planning to raise more capital than the entire US IPO market did over the last 5 years. 4 major AI entities are reportedly planning capital raises that exceed the total volume of the US IPO market over the past 5 years. This move signals a significant shift in the funding landscape for leading AI firms. While the specific dollar amounts and company names are pending, the reported scale of the planned capital raises dwarfs the total funds raised through public offerings in the last half-decade. Analysts are advising investors to focus on 2 of these stocks while setting the other 2 aside. This aggressive capital strategy reflects the intense competitive positioning and valuation dynamics currently defining the generative AI sector. The activity underscores the massive liquidity and market confidence flowing into select AI infrastructure and foundation model developers. News number 20. Goldman Sachs warns that increasing capital expenditures in the AI sector are elevating risks for related stocks. Goldman Sachs has advised investors that escalating capital expenditures across the artificial intelligence sector are correlating with heightened risks for AI-related equities. The firm's analysis highlights that the rapid investment cycle, particularly in training large foundation models, introduces volatility into the market. This trend is driven by massive spending on compute infrastructure and subsequent development costs for advanced LLMs. The report suggests that the concentration of CapEx spending on specific infrastructure providers creates systemic risk that could impact valuation multiples across the sector. This dynamic is particularly acute as companies race to deploy massive computational resources for model inference and fine-tuning. The assessment emphasizes that while growth remains strong, the financial exposure tied to these expenditures is increasing, prompting caution among investors regarding sector risk management. News number 21. 3 semiconductor stocks are highlighted as potential investments in the artificial intelligence sector, targeting significant growth. The Motley Fool identifies 3 specific semiconductor stocks positioned within the AI infrastructure space as potential high-growth investments. These companies are leveraging advancements in specialized chip manufacturing to capitalize on the ongoing demand for high-performance computing. The analysis points to companies with current market valuations below $1,500 per share, suggesting room for appreciation based on projected AI deployment rates. The rationale centers on the demand for advanced GPUs and specialized accelerators necessary for large foundation models. These stocks are positioned to benefit directly from increased data center spending and the ongoing necessity for high-efficiency inference processing. Analysts note that the current valuation reflects recent market shifts, providing a potential entry point for investors looking to capitalize on the ongoing expansion of AI hardware supply chains. News number 22. Jeff Bezos' AI startup secured a $41 billion valuation in a recent funding round. An AI startup founded by Jeff Bezos has achieved a staggering $41 billion valuation following a recent funding round, according to Bloomberg.com. This valuation reflects significant market confidence in the company's trajectory within the generative AI sector. The details of the funding round, including the specific valuation metrics and the investors involved, were detailed in the latest report. This massive valuation positions the company among the most highly valued entities in the AI landscape, signaling substantial investment in its ongoing research and deployment of foundation models. The funding round is critical for scaling the company's operations, particularly in areas involving large-scale inference and proprietary fine-tuning techniques. This move highlights the intense competitive positioning within the enterprise AI market. News number 23. Surgical AI startup Uncover has secured $7 million in seed funding. Surgical AI startup Uncover has emerged from stealth mode, securing $7 million in seed funding, according to Hit Consultant. This capital injection signals growing investor confidence in specialized applications of AI within the medical domain. Uncover is focused on leveraging artificial intelligence to enhance surgical procedures, positioning its technology to improve precision and outcomes in complex operations. The seed round marks a significant milestone for the startup as it moves toward developing its core surgical AI platform. The funding is aimed at scaling development and advancing the technology required for clinical deployment. This move places Uncover in a highly competitive space, challenging established players by integrating advanced machine learning into critical medical workflows. The focus now shifts to the development of proprietary algorithms and achieving regulatory approvals necessary for clinical application. News number 24. Google is examining Samsung's role in next-generation AI chip manufacturing amid evolving global semiconductor supply chain demands. Google is exploring the strategic positioning of Samsung within the semiconductor ecosystem as demand for advanced AI chips reshapes the global supply chain. This exploration is driven by the shifting market dynamics affecting high-performance computing hardware. The focus is on how Samsung's fabrication capabilities impact the delivery of cutting-edge components required for large-scale foundation model training and subsequent inference operations. This shift is critical as major AI players seek to mitigate supply chain bottlenecks. The inquiry centers on optimizing the flow of advanced lithography and memory technologies necessary for producing high-density AI accelerators. This move directly addresses the competitive landscape where companies are leveraging specialized chip production to secure supply chain resilience. Industry analysts are watching how this dynamic affects the long-term supply agreements and technological partnerships between the two giants. News number 25. Elon Musk plans to pitch a semiconductor factory to ASML prior to the SpaceX IPO. Elon Musk is reportedly preparing to pitch plans for the Terafab semiconductor factory to ASML ahead of the anticipated SpaceX IPO. This move centers on leveraging advanced semiconductor capabilities for aerospace applications. The negotiation involves high-level discussions regarding infrastructure and supply chain integration between the aerospace giant and the Dutch semiconductor leader. This strategic alignment aims to secure specialized manufacturing capacity for next-generation propulsion systems. The timing places the pitch directly in the context of the upcoming public offering. This development signals a potential shift in how aerospace entities are structuring their semiconductor supply chain and capital deployment. News number 26. Jeff Bezos provided insight into the AI startup Prometheus following its recent $12 billion funding round. Amazon founder Jeff Bezos addressed the secrecy surrounding the AI startup Prometheus after it secured a $12 billion raise, stating that the company is not being secretive about its operations. The announcement, reported by CNBC, offers insight into the current valuation and funding dynamics within the generative AI sector. This capital infusion positions Prometheus within a competitive landscape dominated by large foundation model developers. The move signals increased investor confidence in specialized AI infrastructure and application layers, moving beyond pure foundation model development into enterprise-focused solutions. This funding reflects a growing market appetite for specialized AI entities capable of delivering specific inference and fine-tuning services. News number 27. Merkley and Padilla are spearheading a coordinated effort to counteract voter suppression and the misuse of artificial intelligence in U.S. elections. The effort, led by Representatives Merkley and Padilla, focuses on mitigating the risks associated with AI deployment in the electoral process. This initiative addresses concerns regarding the potential for algorithmic manipulation and voter suppression tactics facilitated by large language models and targeted digital campaigning. The effort aims to establish new regulatory frameworks to ensure election integrity against AI-driven interference. The focus is on identifying and countering methods used to exploit AI for voter manipulation, emphasizing the need for immediate policy responses to the rapidly evolving landscape of election technology. This action positions federal oversight as critical in balancing technological innovation with democratic security. The effort seeks to define boundaries for the ethical use of machine learning systems within sensitive political contexts. News number 28. The shift toward open-source artificial intelligence is prompting scientific debate regarding global readiness. The movement toward open-source AI frameworks is fundamentally reshaping the landscape of machine learning development. This evolution is prompting significant questions from the scientific community about the societal implications of rapidly democratizing access to advanced models. As the community focuses on open-source deployment, researchers are scrutinizing the balance between accelerated innovation and responsible implementation. The debate centers on the velocity of open-source model proliferation versus the necessary safeguards for global deployment. This shift impacts how foundation models are fine-tuned and how public infrastructure is managed. Industry observers are analyzing how these decentralized models influence the pace of AI research and the necessary regulatory frameworks required to manage this technological expansion. News number 29. A global gathering of the world's 5 largest patent offices convened in Tokyo to focus on the intellectual property landscape of artificial intelligence. Representatives from the world's 5 largest patent offices met in Tokyo to discuss the emerging patent trends and regulatory frameworks surrounding artificial intelligence. The focus of the meeting centered on defining the scope and boundaries for AI-related intellectual property, particularly concerning foundation models and generative AI technologies. Participants reviewed current patent filings and discussed strategies for securing IP in rapidly evolving machine learning applications. This meeting highlights the intensifying global effort to establish standardized patent practices for complex AI systems. The discussions involved analyzing how current patent law applies to novel AI architectures and algorithms. The event underscores the competitive moves among major patent jurisdictions in establishing coherent policies for AI innovation. News number 30. Forbes has published its 2026 list detailing the top 50 artificial intelligence companies. The new ranking identifies the leading entities in the AI sector, highlighting significant shifts in market capitalization and foundational model development. The list places companies like Microsoft, Nvidia, and Alphabet at the top, reflecting their dominance in both infrastructure and large-scale model deployment. The report details the ranking based on revenue, market capitalization, and proprietary AI research output across various subsectors, including generative AI, machine learning operations, and specialized enterprise solutions. Among the top 10, the list notes that specialized startups focusing on fine-tuning and vertical-specific foundation models have seen accelerated growth, pushing several previously mid-tier firms into the top 20. This positioning underscores the intensifying competitive moves in the enterprise AI space, where infrastructure providers are directly challenging model developers for market share. Thank you for watching today's AI news. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe and hit the like button. Join us tomorrow for breaking updates on the latest AI developments. See you then.